What's up, y'all? You already know it's Mr. Hood Love Mikey B. You know what I mean? Today, me and Smitty rock from a lot going on TV. Make sure y'all go share, subscribe, and like over there as well. We're gonna be reacting to, Little Durk's present legal, you know, issues and what he got going on over there. Finesse 2 times, his parole getting revoked. As well as Mav Hoffa, last night he did a live. During that live, he said he fired Bigga um for sleeping during filming, like in the chair. I guess using the bathroom on himself while he was sleeping. I don't know what's going on. But we gonna get into that, man. It's nasty out here on these YouTube streets, you heard? Yo, salute Arhenny, what up? Yeah. Yo, salute to everybody pulling up in the building. You already know what it is, man. Hit that like on the way in, man. Shit alive, shit alive. Yo, so it's crazy out here, man. I'm like, yo. So I'm gonna start with Math Hava. Matter of fact, let's save Math Hava. I'm gonna start with Little Durk. So Little Durk, he's indicted for murder for hire, and he's trying to get a bail right now. He's trying to get out of prison and get a bail. And he recently his lawyer they recently showed evidence that some of the evidence that um you know the federal government is using against him on the court in the court case is actually is not true, which is I guess Quando Rondo was screaming after what happened to his cousin, little Timmy, and I guess they thought that was Little Durk making fun of Quando Rondo. But anytime you record anything, it has a timestamp. So the producer and he already had that pre-recorded before that incident even happened. So Little Durk and his lawyer is arguing that you presented false evidence to the grand jury to indict my client Little Durk on. Um, and if they did use that in that way and saying, "Hey, look, this guy right here is talking on these rap records, and he's saying that he's using this guy's voice, he's laughing, he's saying no, 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 the exact words that this guy said," um, they're trying to use that against him. But the feds, I mean, that's why everybody tries to like hold their hand to trial or show exactly what they really have. Because once you show what you have and what you're going to use, they are going to immediately shoot that down and try to use that against you. The feds fired right back and basically said, like, hey, wait a minute. Even if that is not true, this guy is still a bad guy. He's still, when he's seen that the guys that actually did the hit got locked up, he tried to fly out of he tried to, go to 3 different other countries. He had 3 different flights scheduled immediately as soon as he seen them get locked up. And one of those flights was to a country that has no, extradition laws back to America. So one of those countries, if he would have made it to that country, they couldn't have, got him back to America so he can face justice on these charges that they have him for. So they saying he is a flight risk because he tried to run, once he heard that the guys that actually committed this murder, or they saying allegedly committed this murder, got locked up. You tried to flee the country and get low. You know what I'm saying? You definitely got rabbit in your blood. We can't trust you to let you out of here because you're gonna try to get up out of here. You're gonna try to slide on us, and we trying to get this time out of you. You know what I'm saying? We trying to get this time, and they trying to use the gang stuff and all the stuff that Little Durk has been saying on these records. Um, So this is a you know, a cautious time. This is a time that everybody, especially making music and making content on the internet, because you see what happened with Big U, Loose Cannon, and Brick Baby. A lot of the own things that they said is being used against them. We don't know how these cases are going to work out, or how they're going to play out, but this information is being used against them in the court of law. So that's very, very dangerous. They saying Little Durk, even if that information is not true, he still is very dangerous and is a flight risk and still committed these crimes. You see what I'm saying? I don't know what other evidence they're gonna abuse. They're gonna produce. They might produce, money statements from them guys using the cards. They had his phones tapped. So whatever he was saying to them guys, like don't use my cards to make flights or whatever. Yo, G Up Quinn, salute, what up? Miguelito, Miguel. Miguel is in the building. You already know what it is, you heard? But they trying to use this information against Little Durk. So you guys that are out here making music, you gotta be mindful. You gotta be mindful of what you're saying on these tracks, because they trying to use this information, these songs, and people have been convicted for things they have said on songs, for things they have said on podcasts. So make sure that y'all leaving y'all stories and y'all lifetimes and this whatever's going on, leave it out the tracks. Leave it up the records, because you know ain't no retired troll. What up, Salute? Yo, listen, these people, they're not playing fair out here. You know what I'm saying? They're not. They're gonna use that shit. They're gonna use it against you, um, and it's gonna be nasty. You know what I mean? It's gonna be nasty. You heard? Um, so free Little Dirk till he gets his day in court. Um, hopefully, he's not guilty of any of the charges. Hopefully, he makes it back out here and come back out here and make great music. I'm a Little Dirk fan. I listen to his music. Um, hopefully we see him back out here on these streets. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully none of this stuff is true and he can get around his case, man. But one thing is for sure, and two things is for certain: the federal government is not playing. They're not playing with these dudes. These rapper dudes with this money, and they trying to use it, to destroy people, to destroy their communities. The feds ain't playing that. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, if you did plan to do it, if you are doing it, if you're thinking about it, don't do it. They're gonna come for you. They're gonna knock your crew off. They're gonna knock y'all down. All that money y'all had, they're gonna take all that shit back. You're gonna have to use all that money that you made. You're gonna have to use it for your legal defense. You're gonna have to use it for just freedom. It's not gonna count in jail. Somebody else gonna be out here in society spending your money, living in your house, and you're gonna be in jail, like Little Dirt. And when these guys get these millions and y'all get out the streets, y'all get out of y'all communities, y'all gotta leave that stuff behind y'all. They gotta leave some of that, you gotta leave that mindset, that ghetto mindset. You gotta leave that in the streets, you gotta leave that in the ghetto. God gave you these wings to fly up out of that, the trenches that you was born in, and to give you the opportunity to make money and to be in a better place. Y'all gotta start using it. Y'all gotta start cherishing y'all freedom. They gotta start cherishing y'all wealth. They gotta start cherishing your lives and the lives of others. You know what I mean? I think that's very important. Yeah, but yeah, you gotta keep it off. They gotta keep the street stuff off wax. G up Quinn, I agree with you. But more importantly, when they go into the music industry and they got this money, they gotta be just musicians. They gotta stop trying to be gangster. They gotta stop trying to be on that timing, because like, when I came up, I was a kid, I was into all of that. I was doing all of that. And right now I'm just out here living, enjoying my life. You know what I'm saying? Living enjoying these communities and everything that they have to offer, the different states, stuff that I be in. And, I did 27 years of my life since I was a kid. I was in prison, in and out of prison. So I know what that's like. And I know what it's like to live in them communities where it's going down at. And I know what it's like to live in good communities and just be working and living and just chilling. You see what I'm saying? Um, I think just enjoying your money, enjoying your family, enjoying your life is much better than, you know, destroying your community, destroying yourself, and then going to prison and doing a bunch of time. I'm just being honest. You see what I'm saying? I'm being honest. You know what I mean? We say we protecting our communities, we doing all, but we the biggest problems in our communities a lot of the times. We are the biggest problems in our communities. Without us being there, our communities would be a lot better. I'm just being honest, you heard? That's just the truth. When I look back at my community, St. Albans, Queens, Jamaica, Queens, South Side, North Side, whatever you want to call it. When I look back at what we bring as kids to our community and what we were doing in the streets, we were doing bad in our communities. You know what I'm saying? We was the ones that was really doing it bad and making it bad for people to have to walk through there, to have to live around there. We made it bad, man. You know what I'm saying? So when I look back at myself and what I did as a youth, I'm really ashamed of my past and the stuff I did in my community. Just being honest, you know what I'm saying? When I look back at the community that I came from and what we did, you know what I'm saying, and what we were doing and what we were into at that time. You see what I'm saying? We wasn't just about money. We was wilding. We was tripping. We was tripping out there. You know what I'm saying? Uh, but a lot of these communities is good, and we got to show these guys that perspective. You know what I mean? We got to show these guys that perspective. Hopefully, hopefully after the trials and tribulations that Lil Durk is going through right now, hopefully comes back with a better perspective. I know he turned Muslim. He been turned Muslim through his pops. He's on his deen now. So hopefully in Islam, he can learn a lot more about humility, about love, and family, and just taking care of yourself and your community in a real way. You know what I mean? Not shooting it up. You know what I mean? Not being on that time and saying that, trying to glorify that lifestyle. You know what I'm talking about? Just being honest. You know what I mean? Um, Before a dude has to, we got a bunch of guys on YouTube right now. We see old timers coming home, Prince, you know, 34 years. They doing 40. We seen Blue Boy come home, Herman Bell. We seen Black Panthers, Lil Moolah King. They did 40 something years. You see these guys coming home. They ain't do no time. They told on everybody. You know what I mean? You seeing them guys on the internet too. You know what I mean? They ain't do no time. They did a couple months, told on everybody. They out here, they on the internet. So y'all getting all the stories. Y'all getting a full view. You know what I mean? So before you got to be like a Prince, doing 30 something years, or being like these rats doing 30 something days, you know what I mean, 30 something months for real crimes and telling on everybody. Before you like either one, the gangster or the rat, I say you reform your life, and just do what's right for yourself, your family, and your community. You know what I'm saying? That ain't that hard, man. We gotta start, and I'm talking to black people on this, you know what I mean? I'm talking to young black men on this. And not just, I mean, when I say black, I mean the whole color spectrum. You know what I'm saying? Brown, everything that's sitting there that includes, Asians, that's, people of Latin descent. When I say black, I mean everybody. I know I don't be clarifying that, but when I say that, I mean brown, I mean Spanish, I mean everybody that's growing up in our communities. That's what when I say that, anytime y'all hear me say that, I'm not just talking about African Americans. I'm talking about our whole community. That includes all the languages that we speak, the Caribbean, Asian. That includes all of us when I speak that. You know what I'm saying? We have to get better at, loving ourselves and loving our communities and stop glorifying and celebrating our deaths. You see what I'm saying? I listen to the music. I'm not, trying to be higher than thou on this or preach, but We have to stop celebrating the demise of ourselves and the demise of our people. I'm just being honest. You know what I mean? That is like a real, we celebrate all these songs and all these sticks and 30s and all this stuff that we talk about in our songs is for us to destroy our peoples and our own communities, bro. And we have to get off that. We have at some point we that has to end for us, you know, to go to the next level as a people. You know what I mean? Because now all that is glorifying the ratchetness, is glorifying the destruction of our people, our young women, our young men. You see what I'm saying? That's all it is glorifying the destruction of our peoples. You see what I'm saying? So at some point, I don't know when we gonna come collectively and say enough is enough. Like, yo, we gotta stop glorifying that. Because we could do a lot of other forms of music. Um, we glorify drug addiction, we glorifying alcoholism, we glorifying, just little things, you know, thoughts, wholeness, you know, knocking down people in our communities, you know, hustling, selling drugs to our peoples. We glorify all that stuff in our music. We glorify all that stuff in our daily lives. Our posts, our social media posts. So I don't want this just to be like, all right, forget the rat and the gangster. I'm talking about everybody that's destroying our communities. We got to come together. And I'm not saying lock everybody up because that don't even work. The locking everybody up does not work. The death penalty does not work. Right? When the death penalty was going on, we still had crime. Death penalty don't stop crime. Locking everybody else is not going to stop crime. They're going to come back and they're going to still commit more crimes. So we gotta better ourselves. We gotta find better programs and better things to do with our lives, better ways of teaching and leading our peoples. We have to find, guerrilla tactics, unconventional ways of connecting to the youth, connecting to our peoples, and making a better way. You know what I'm saying? I'm just being honest, you know what I mean? Um, and I think we need all hands on deck to really, fight against this, and not just gangsters or anybody like that. But finesse 2 times, free little Durk, you heard? Yo, Dutch Noble, what up? Um, finesse 2 times, he's locked up. He got a probation violation. I don't understand why they took so long. I guess he had like a month left on federal parole, and they violated him. Let me tell you something, man. I don't really know the particulars of finesse times in that young man, but you got to have children stand in a child's place. I think everything got messed up is because finesse 2 times. I forgot the young man's name, but you know, it's another glorification of destruction. We got this little kid. He gambling. He cursing. I guess I don't know if he was smoking weed or he's drinking. They got it on camera. They got it, they put it out there. And, that's like grooming. That's like, like, that's a kid. You see what I'm saying? Um, I had the privilege to work with kids, you know what I mean? Some a little bit older than him. I done spoke to kids his age, um, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And I done worked with kids that were 15, 16, that were in trouble with the law. I'll probably give y'all some more on that. As a case manager, I had a lot of I had an after school program with at risk youth. And all these kids had gun charges. They were about 16, 14, 15. They all had gun charges, assaults, different things they were fighting. Some of them got the case dismissed. Some of them had active cases. But when I looked at these kids, I'm like, yo, these kids is all like me. You know what I'm talking about? So it's like when you got these kids in your charge, you really gotta be thinking and have their best intentions at heart. Because especially in the music industry, bro, especially in the music industry, bro, it's like, y'all teaching this dude everything that's counter to him being a good man growing up. Y'all teaching him how to gamble. Y'all teaching him all the shortcuts, but y'all not teaching him the foundational principles that can really make him a great, successful man in America. You see what I'm saying? I'm not saying you can't make money on gambling in America, but who is the great gamblers that we know that's black? Who are they? We don't even know. We don't even know them, right? Who is like accumulating millions of dollars from rolling dice? I'm just saying. Who is that? Probably the dudes that got the trick dice. He said Jay Person got trick dice. The dudes that got the trick dice in them gambling spots, they're probably the ones that's always winning, right? I gambled a long time in my life. Teaching that young kid how to gamble and do all that stuff, people laugh. We see little kids doing that stuff. I don't laugh no more because I know it's not a joke and I understand that it's not funny. I see what's actually going on. But we take that shit for joke. We take that stuff for joke. We see kids and they acting like, they acting grown. And we be like, we'll laugh. We men like, yo, shorty buggy, yo, shorty wild. Yo, you wild, shorty. When you supposed to be like, yo, what you doing, my man? Like, why you not in school? Like, what you doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, get them off the block. Like when I was a kid, man, one thing, the hustlers from the 80s, man, that whole Supreme Team era, Ronnie Bump, a lot of guys y'all probably never heard of. Them hustlers, bro, they had a whole, you could not be around none of that stuff if you was a kid, bro, in the 80s, bro. In the 90s, we stopped caring about all of that. The 2000s, we stopped caring about all of that. In the 80s, you couldn't be around none of that. You couldn't be on no blocks. You couldn't do no lookouts. You couldn't play. You know what I'm saying? You couldn't do none of that shit, bro. You know what I mean? These dudes be just trying to get anybody that's gonna get them that they can get clout off and get some money from. They don't care, bro. Like when we went to the 90s, even with Bow Wow. Look, think about little Bow Wow. He was groomed in that industry from he was a kid too. Think about Bow Wow. Little Bow Wow was on stage and doing grown stuff. Usher, Justin Bieber, all these people that we hear these bad things happen to were kids in the music industry growing up around all this stuff, growing up around men, right? So that kid, he got some stuff coming to him. He got some stuff coming to him, you know what I'm saying? Even with, I don't even want to like, when you prematurely put these kids, yo, Pop Out TV, salute to everybody, yo, John Post, salute to everybody pulling up, man, salute to all of y'all. When you prematurely give these kids think that's too advanced for them, it's gonna mess their life up. You already messed their life up because they not on the age for that level of the information and the stuff that you give them. Right? It's like feeding a baby steak. You got good intentions. Steak is good for a grown person. Steak is great. But for a baby ain't supposed to be eating steak. Right? A baby not supposed to eat steak. Just being honest. These kids that's getting these information, they getting that information too early. It's gonna throw off the regular balance. It's gonna throw off the regular growth of an adolescent, of a kid. That's what you're doing. You are prematurely aging this kid and you giving him information he shouldn't even have until he is older and later in his life. Just being honest. If it's you introducing girls, if you introducing anything that's negative or bad, these are things that he's not even supposed to see as a kid, right? So when I had these kids under my charge, because they're kids, no matter what they went through in the streets, got caught with guns. You know, these kids, they was active, they was actively or used to be in a gang. I don't know. I'm gonna say I don't know. But when I worked with them, I treated them like kids. I didn't treat them like gangbangers. I didn't treat them like adults. I treated them like kids. What y'all want to do? 15, 16, 14. I know the government ain't treating them like kids when they get them in them courtrooms. I know their communities, they trying to fire on them. They ain't treating them like kids. You see what I'm saying? So when I got to them, I treat them like kids. I gave them good food. I made food for them every day. Um, we had a lot of good fellowships. I learned a lot about them. I learned a lot from them. They learned a lot about me. But I gave them that opportunity when I had that center for that time and I opened that center up to them. I gave them opportunity to be children again. You know what I'm saying? To just have a good life, to enjoy stuff, to be able to dream and hope, and just to be kids. You know what I'm talking about? Just to be kids. Like, what do you want to be as a kid? What do you want to do? How you doing in school? And they really respected me and messed with me off of that. We really had a great connection. Um, 'Cause I seen a lot of myself in those kids too. They was in the streets and they was just impact early. Um, and sometimes we see these kids, they homeless or no, they might have homes or bad homes and issues and we take them under our wing and instead of stopping them for doing the stuff that they doing, we lavish in that shit. It's getting clicks and views, everybody watching it. But at the end of the day, we losing. It's a loss. It's an L. It's a whole L. You know what I mean? And right now, Finesse two time is experiencing that L. I guess the other kid is named Cardi the gambler that was beefing with Finesse two times. I don't know that dude. But all I see is them exploiting a kid. Like y'all exploiting him for his raps or whatever he's doing, whatever clout y'all getting off this kid. Y'all exploiting him. Like, come on, bro. Like we gotta be better than that. You know what I mean? Um, and I don't want to get down. I don't want to get down on them dudes. You know what I'm saying? Because I think Finesse really tried to help the kid. I don't know. I think he's really trying to. From what I've seen, I think Finesse two times really tried to help that kid. And when he talked to that kid as an adult, and we seen that live, where he was like, where he was like, I try to do best for him, but and I told him to stop doing this, gambling, smoking weed, drinking, whatever he was doing. He didn't want to listen. The kid came back and made a live, and he said, "Yo, you trying to change me from who I was?" He said, "You trying to change me from who I was." See, that's the problem with Finesse two times, because when you first met that kid, you laughed and you let him do all that stuff. Then when you see you was getting bad publicity, your parole officer start calling you about it, and the kids start coming out. Now you want to reform this kid when you should have just did that from the beginning. You see what I'm saying? You can't be putting blickies or drugs in these kids' hands. Y'all is bugging out here. You can't be doing no stuff like he shouldn't even be gambling. Gambling, you know how many times I've seen gambling end up in gunfire, robberies, and all that kind of stuff, bro. He shouldn't even be around that. He shouldn't be in no gambling in the streets, bro. You know how many dice games we ran down on? I'm just being honest. When I was in the streets, you know how many dice games I ran down on? How we ran down on? I had Teflon. Salute to Teflon. I had Teflon up here. You know how many dudes got robbed at dice games? You know how many dudes got shot at dice games outside? All over the country. Forget just New York. All over the country, they got these illegal gambling. You know how many dudes that got killed and shot and robbed and all that stuff, bro? That ain't nowhere for no kid to be. That is not no place for a kid to be, bro. I'm just being honest, you heard? Yo, Gino, quit, you crazy. Shorty got a detox. That's crazy. Yo, Gino quitting, that's crazy. Yo, Shorty got a detox, yeah. Yeah, that's wild. Yes. Yo, yo, I gotta, yo, that's wild, G'd up Queen. Listen, dudes, but that's the regular, the gambling spots. That's the regular thing, though. That's a regular thing, bro. That's a dangerous place for a kid to be, bro. All that money's around, the wolves is out. The wolves is out, bro. That's a dangerous place. That's a dangerous place to be at the dice games. If you're not really, you're not really on point. That's a dangerous place, bro. Dudes got bands on bands out there. Dudes got money. The wolves is gonna come at some point. The wolves is coming. They watching. They watching y'all live or whatever. They watching. They gonna come. The wolves is gonna come. They gonna pop out. 15, 20, 30 bands. They're gonna come. They might not come immediately, but they're gonna. The wolves is gonna. They watching. Somebody thirsty's gonna come. They're gonna be like, hold up, nah. Shorty got to give it up. Shorty got to come up off that bag. He too young. He don't even need that bag. Shorty got that big bag. He don't even need that. I'm telling you, dudes that make all kind of excuses to book Shorty. You heard? Shorty not exempt. Once he step outside, once you step outside, bro, you don't. Nobody's exempt. Once you outside, women, children. I'm telling you, bro, it's not like it used to be. Once you go outside that door and you on timing, then you not exempt. Then you not exempt. You're not exempt. I'm sorry to say it. I'm just giving you the reality of the street. This is not my call. This is not what I want to see. I would rather see, homie, Shorty in school, Shorty turning his life around, getting good grades, having a better life for herself in the future. You see what I'm saying? A real better life. You know what I'm saying? Educating herself, being an engineer or astronaut or something else. I wish Shorty was in school and they backed him on something like that. I wish they would back him on something like that. But once he go outside that door, he is not exempt. He on streets, he in them streets, and they got that money, they got them bags out there, then he is not exempt. They're gonna come for it. I'm just being honest. You showing yourself on live, dudes know where you gambling at, dudes is watching everything. It's nasty out here in these streets, bro. The people's hurting. They hurting out here in these streets. They're gonna come for that little light bag. You flashing that, they're gonna come for that. You see what I'm saying? And let me tell you something. I'm not saying they ain't ready. But that's just gonna end up somebody getting hurt. That's what I'm saying. That ain't no place for Shorty to be. No matter how much of a good gambler he is or whatever, short money if you gambling. We all was kids doing our little gambling in school or doing whatever we did. Quarters, pitching quarters. We used to pitch quarters in school. We used to do all that kind of stuff. I'm just being honest. We played dice, we played CeeLo, we played. But once that dudes got booked by Jackson, dudes was getting booked at all these dice games. You said dudes was booking dudes at all these dice games, bro. You know what I'm saying? And if you ain't respected jokes, you know how that go. If you ain't respected, if you ain't respected, y'all know how that go, you heard? So I hope they get them. I hope they get them out that and off that all together. You know what I'm saying? Right, right. Them dice game, right, right. So I hope I hope they really help Shorty get back in line with school, get back in line with things that can really change his future and make his life better in the future. You know what I mean? He's a kid now. I hope they let him just be a kid, bro. Because now they trying to act like he a grown man. He around grown men doing grown men stuff. And that's totally out of wax. That's totally out of balance. You know what I'm talking about? But Finesse 2 times is back in prison. He got a parole violation. They violate him for all that stuff that was going on. He back in prison too. You know what I mean? So how that go, you heard? I got a bunch of different art. I gotta start putting this art up. I got my Tupac art right there, yeah. I got a bunch. I got to start putting my art up in my office, man. I got a bunch of different art. I got a bunch. I got a bunch of different art. I got a bunch of different. I got a bunch of different art. You know what I'm talking about? I got to start putting it up though. You know what I mean? Yo, put him in Phoenix house. He gonna change ASAP. G'd up quick. He probably too young to get in Phoenix house. You heard? He probably too young to get in Phoenix house. You heard? Yo, Derek, what up? So check it. Yo, hit the like button on the way in, y'all. Shit alive. So check it. Yo, last night I was on Mav Hoffa. He was over there talking about, you know, yo, did the shop get shot up or not? You know what's going on in the shop, ain't get shot up. He was up there talking his talk, right? So at the end of the show, he was like, you know, you could super chat, and I'll answer your questions if you super chat. You know I do. You know I still got that crazy jump shot. You heard? Yo, I was at the basketball court today. I ain't play though, but I was at the court today. But check it out. So Mav Hoffa, he says like, yo, super chat, I'm gonna answer all questions. So I super chatted him. I'm like, yo, matter of fact, let me see if I can find it. So I'm like, yo, you know, you really can't play his videos. He be blicking stuff. He be blicking channels, you heard? He definitely be blicking channels, you heard? But that was a good laugh. That was a good laugh last night. I mean, I like the show. I like Matt Papa. I ain't going. Here we go right here. Did the shop get shot up? You heard? There it go right there. You heard last night. Towards the end, yo. So look, towards the end, I asked him. I'm like, yo, I super chatted. You know what I mean? And I asked him. I'm like, yo, out of all of your co-hosts, I said that left. I said out of all your co-hosts that left, which co-host would you want back? You know what I'm saying? Oh man, I almost knocked the whole situation down. So I'm like, you know, which co-host would you want back? You know what I'm talking about? And he like, he answered my question. He shouted me out. He shouted me out. He like, yo, salute to Hood Love. He's like, salute to Hood Love TV. And you know, he answered the question briefly, but he ain't really answered the question. I asked him, I said, yo, I said, what you think? Like, who would you want back out of all the people that left? The first part of the answer was, he said, nobody left. I fired everybody. Then he switched it. He said, nah. He said, nah, two people. He said, nah, two people left. You heard? He said, two people left. So I'm like, he said, two people left. I fired everybody else. He was thinking. He wasn't talking. He was thinking. He wasn't really talking. He was just like, he was like, yo, he said, that's a good question. I don't really know. He said, I don't really know. Look at my super chat right here. Look, hold on. Let me show y'all my super chat. This the show right here. Look at my super chat right here. Check it out. Which co-host left do you want back? I said, keep going. Just get back to the content that got you that 1 million subs. You know what I'm talking about? So when he answered the question, he never gave me an answer or who he would want back. He never answered the question. He just kept saying like, "Yeah, that's a good question." He never said, "I ain't gonna play his videos because he be you play his video, he be bucking, You heard? So I ain't gonna play his video. But towards the end, y'all can check it out. That's like 107 right there. That's like at the 107 time mark right there. It's the 107 time mark. It's around that time. It's towards the end of the video. So y'all can check it out from there if y'all want. You know what I mean? The video he did last night, 22 hours ago. So, but during that time when he was talking about that, he said he fired Bigga for sleeping in the chair while they was filming the shows while he had his guest up there. Bigga was in the chair knocked out. You know? He said he fired Bigga for that, for almost getting into it with Smith and Wesson, Cocoa Brothers. He almost got into it over the Tupac situation. He got out of his chair. They got each other's face. You know, it got heated. He said it got heated. He said it got heated. But he said he fired Bigga for sleeping during filming and peeing on himself. I don't know if he was drunk during filming. I don't know if he got a bladder problem. I don't know what's going on. Urination problem. I don't know what's going on. You know what I'm saying? But he said he fired that man because he peed on set. Yo, and all the dirt is coming out, man. It is nasty out here on these streets, you heard? I think that's why Bigga came back and was like, man, if I was my brother, I love him. He was trying to clean it up because he didn't want Mad Papa to expose that. Now they just exposing everything. I guess I don't know if he was asleep while he peed. He got to give us Mad Papa has to like tell us the goods on that. You know what I'm saying? Did Bigga pee during filming? Did he pee while he was asleep? Was it that sleepy pee? Yeah. You know how you was a kid, you think you by the bathroom? Oh man, I don't know what's going on. Yo, listen. Yo, hold up. Yo, listen. I think he was supposed to get that man some Depends. He's supposed to take care of his staff. I'm blaming this on Math Hopper. If you know this man had a bladder problem and he on your staff, you supposed to get this man some Depends. You know what I mean? You supposed to take care of your staff, bro. You supposed to have all that in the bathroom for anybody that has any issues was going on. Depends, right? You supposed to take care of that, man. Yo, he said Bigger was up there. I know. I don't know, man. I don't know if this is Cap. I don't know if he's trying to get Bigger back. But that's all the dirt is coming out on that. Yo, these dudes, I heard Gat, salute to Gat Taylor, used to be Gat Murder. Salute to him. He was saying how they want a big, reunion for everybody. With stuff coming out like this, I don't think it could even be a reunion. A reunion is gonna be like a battle royal with all the stuff that they bringing out. Yeah, how they gonna leak that? How they gonna leak that this man was leaking on the show? Yo, that's crazy, Gino. You wrong with that, you heard? Fresh made butter pecan cookies. They is gonna turn. They gonna be turning that reunion up. You heard? They ain't going. The My Expert Opinion reunion is gonna be crazy, you heard? The My Expert, yo, you right about that, G Dub Quinn. The My Expert Opinion reunion is gonna be nasty work out here, man. So I wonder if this true. Now Big is kind of older, so I can see, he might have been filming for a while. He might have had to do a gig or job earlier. He got in that nice cushy barber's chair and just went to sleep. I can understand that. But peeing, like peeing on the show, bro. Peeing on a show is wild. You heard? Peeing on a show is wild, bro. Bigger got to come out and he got to say something about that. You heard? Bigger got to say if he got to correct. He got to correct the facts on that. Bigger got it. I ain't gonna say Math Alpha's capping. I don't think Math Alpha's capping on that. You heard? Maybe he narcoleptic. It depends. Yo, listen, peeing on the show is wild, bro. For for Math Alpha to blow that up, that's crazy. Right? I ain't gonna front. That's crazy. For him to blow that up, that for him to leak that, like my son G Up Quinn said, for him to leak that, that's crazy. I think he was mad at Bigger. I think he was mad at Bigger because Bigger went out on him like that. He like, all right, so I'm blowing up everything. Hey, yo, they wilding on My Expert Opinion, bro. That thing is over. I ain't gonna front. I'm not saying that Matt Papa can't, really take it to the next level again, but that cast, that group, that group is done. That group is done. You heard? They don't like each other at all. They don't like each other at all. So a lot of them that don't really like each other at all. Um, Matt Papa was saying last night as well that when he was on a show with Heineken and Esso, I think it was what's her name that was on Hot 97 before? I forgot, Angela Yee. When they was on Angela Yee's show, he asked the question last night that they said why nobody said nothing about money when I was on the Angela Yee show in their face with Heineken and Esso. Why nobody said nothing about money? That's true. I mean, I didn't hear it. Maybe I need to go back and watch the video. But he's saying they didn't really have a money issue with him. He's saying that Heineken and Esso was saying, like, I thought we was family. I thought we was together. He's saying it wasn't a money issue. He's saying when they were face to face and they were all talking, no money issue had came up. You know what I'm talking about? Word up. I ain't gonna lie. Nav Hop, the My Expert Opinion show, we keep finding out new stuff every day. I think it's gonna be something new tomorrow. I think we're gonna hear something new tomorrow. But Bigger peeing during the filming, he gotta answer that. We gotta get the answer. We gotta get, is that true? I know Math Papa just go up there and lie. I know because we on him. We on every word that Math Papa's saying, people are on everything. So I don't think he could be that dumb to go up there and lie about, Bigger going up there and using a bathroom during the show on himself. I don't know. I don't know. I need to know. I need to know the particulars. Was he asleep? Was he drunk? Surviving Emmy, yo, tell all coming soon. Yo, listen, we seeing that right now. They telling it all over the internet right now. They telling it all over the internet right now, you heard? We seeing that every day. We seeing that every day, you heard? I like my expert opinion. I hope they can bounce back from this. If he does, if Math Hoffa does bounce back from this, it's gonna show real greatness. I was in his live last night. He only had like he had like 200 or 300 people. Um, back in the day, you see him, he had like 14,000, 10,000, 20,000. Now he's down to like 300. Right? Yo, G Dub Quick, you funny, huh? Yo, I hope Math Hoffa bounce back. Yo, Stone to the Bone, what up? Salute. But the thing that's really, sitting in my mind. The thing that's really sitting in my mind is Math Hoffa's day one scheme team was sitting in that apartment with no heat and no lights, and Math Hoffa didn't help him. That's his day one. Scheme team was filming his show in the dark with no heat, right? In the dark with no heat. Remember that. Put a one in the chat if y'all remember Scheme Team filming his shows with no lights and no heat. Put a one in the chat if you remember it. Put a two if you don't. If you don't even know who Scheme Team is, put a two. But put a one if you remember Scheme Team filming shows in the dark. Zip with the Drip did a show in the dark because of Scheme Team too. He did a show in the dark. He did a show in the dark because of Scheme Team too, you heard? Yeah. Scheme Team knows math, and Scheme Team talked about knowing math and math not helping him, right? So check it out. We seen Math Hoffa do a show in the dark with no electricity in the barbershop. Remember that? Put a one if you remember Math Hoffa doing a show in the dark, excuse me, with no lights. Put a one if you remember that. Put a two if you don't. If you remember Math Hoffa doing a show in the dark, put a one. If you don't remember it, put a two. John Paul, you don't remember it? It's up there. Check his lives. It's up there. Matter of fact, I'm gonna find it for y'all real quick. Two months ago. How many months ago was that? How many months ago was that? All right. I can't find it. When I do, I'll post it. Right? Yo, look, Taj, this is crazy. Yo, Taj, this is what I'm saying. Out of everybody on YouTube, the only two dudes besides Zip with the Drip who was trolling Scheme Team, the only two dudes that filmed with no electricity in their house is Scheme Team and Math Hoffa. They both happen to be from Brooklyn, from the same neighborhood, and they both were filming on here without electricity. What are the chances of that? If you can give me the chances of that without using chat GPT, I got a cash app for you, all right? If you can give me the chance, what are the chances of that? 1,000,000 to 1? They both from Crown Heights, right? I think, yo, listen, I think karma on the behalf of Mav Hoffa, I think karma. Like, how you gonna watch your friend, your day one that you know from the town, you up, you a millionaire. You got a popping show. At that time, his show was popping when Scheme was actually doing those videos. You could have threw him a couple of hours to pay his lights, bro, and his heat. I think things like that, I think things like that come back to you personally. And I think we've seen it in real time. Mav Hoffa come back and have no lights after he didn't help his day one. Also a YouTuber that he knows is a YouTuber. He had supported him in the past. He had supported Scheme in the past. But I think with him not supporting Scheme and him not helping out a guy from his neighborhood that has no lights, I think karma did touch Mav Hoffa. I think he was watching Scheme. I think he did get karma from that. I think so. I really, really do. I really do believe that. You know what I mean? Um, you know what this is? You know what this is, man? Do good by people when you can. You heard? But I hope Mav Hoffa, in my expert opinion, um, bounces back. Do I think that cast will ever get back together? No, I don't. Besides money issues, they got a lot of personal issues that I don't think they can get over. They put a lot of business out here on the internet that I don't think they can come back from that. So I think that cast is over. But do I think my expert opinion is over as a brand? I don't think so. You can come back as a brand. Um, but I think that cast, we'll never see that cast together again. I think that's over. If they pull that together, then they a lot better men than I think they are. I think Matt Hoffa's a lot more smarter than I think he is. He's a better manager. But I don't think Matt Hoffa has it in him to forgive them guys and to come back from that. I don't think Matt Hoffa has it in him to do that. John Poe, he's definitely gonna keep asking if you look out for him. Yeah. Scheme does not play no games, you heard? But that's been the tap with y'all, man. I told y'all I was gonna be popping out more often. I'll be pulling up doing more reaction videos with y'all. You know what I mean? Smitty, Smitty was busy. He wasn't able to pop out today. Hopefully we see him next time. You heard? You already know what it is, man. Salute. It's Mr. Hood Love, Mikey B. You know what I mean? Like, share, subscribe. Make sure y'all share the live if y'all didn't already with somebody that might need it. You know what I mean? Finesse 2 times. Lil Durk, free the brothers. You know what I mean? Free the people, man. Word up. But you already know what it is. Mr. Hood Love, Mikey B. Salute.